Yeah. Starting off, I'm going to be measuring this piece of laminated LDF that I found in the dumpster. Then I'm going to be making the inner walls of my pet cage in these sort of U-shaped patterns. I'm going to be making two of them. They're going to be made out of pallet wood and some scrap wood I had. Now for the outside walls. These are going to be made out of 2x4s. And right here I'm just making a couple of marks for the placement of a horizontal piece. With these 2x4s I'm making this sort of H pattern, and here you see these 8-inch spacers I'm using to make the job go a little bit faster, but I'm also going to be using these later on in the project. And I'm going to make two of those also. So here I am. I have my two inner walls that are these U-shaped pieces, and I got two pieces of pallet wood and my LDF, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to put this thing together. I flipped the project over and I put a couple of screws in the horizontal pieces of the U-shaped walls. And I flipped it back over and I took off those pieces because I got a little confused at this point, because I needed to place them a little bit more forward. Now I'm putting them back on, and I just needed them to be flush with the front of the LDF. What I'm doing here is I'm just stapling down the screening I chose, and all I was looking for was something strong, something they couldn't chew through, something they couldn't fit through. And it all depends on what pet you have. And I'm cutting off the excess, and I'm going to save this for another part of this project. Another piece of pallet wood goes on the front for decoration and to hide the staples and the sharp pieces of the wiring, and also the LDF on the bottom. A similar sized piece of pallet wood supports the top, and then I did the same exact thing to the other side of the cage. Oh. She's scared of her new home. Honey, come on out. She's scared because of all the banging I've been making. Well, she already pooped in it. There's some pee right next to the poop. I want you to ignore this right now. They chewed right through this weaker netting, and I also had to replace the bottom piece of wood with some LDF because it got all poopy, and the top one was just fine. They didn't touch it too much. Now, here I'm marking where my drawer slides are going to go. You see that? That's poop right there. And on my outer walls, I'm going to add a 1/2 inch for clearance for the inside of the pet cage. On this line is where we're going to place our drawer slides. These are easy. Just make sure the distance here and here are the same, and that these are going in opposite directions. Installing this, I lined up my inner and outer walls and completely closed the drawer slide. To help me with the drawer slides, I marked where I wanted them to go with a Sharpie and brought that mark around to the other side. Usually installing drawer slides are pretty easy, but this was the most irritating part of this project. And it wasn't for anything, and it wasn't too complicated. It was just kind of difficult holding these things on with one thumb as I screwed them down. Here are the two 2x4s that are supporting the top, and they are the added distance of the inner cage, the 2x4s on the side, and the drawer slides put together. Alright, I cut up a bunch of pallet wood to make my roof, and I also have these 8-inch blocks, and these boards are 16 inches. First thing I'm going to do is going to put a board right here, line it up to where I think it looks good, wherever. It's just your roof, man. Yeah, screw it up. After that, there's a gap here, so I'm going to put my 8-inch board and put it under here. And before I put the rest of my roof on, I'm also going to do the other side first. Just some decorative pallet wood I placed on each side. Okay, so I have this problem that when I pull the drawer out far enough, it topples over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this middle piece, install a dowel in the top. Yeah! Things like that, they just make you feel all special and sad. This part of the project was actually really fun. The cage by itself seemed a little dull, so I traced out a 1 foot by 1 foot square, put some dowels into some holes that I drilled inside of the square, and wrapped it with the extra screen I had. And this is me just cutting out the corners of the screen so that I could fold the screen inward and staple it down to the top of the cage. Where the netting ended, I folded it over and then wrapped it inside of itself using some needle nose pliers helps, and I fastened it with some staples. Then I created this box that created a frame and some structure. And this is mostly supported by the wire. And I just added a couple of staples. Yeah, I felt pretty dumb cutting this hole after putting on the cage. But I think that's what woodworkers do. They just have to work around their mistakes, and that's what it means to be a woodworker. And it also gave me an excuse to break out my Dremel. For their roof, I cut some pallet wood and measured the distance between the center of each dowel, marked it on the pallet wood, and cut out some holes. They fitted onto the dowels, and they're just supported by the dowels. There's no nails or glue or anything like that. They kind of fit together like Lincoln logs or something. I needed to gain access to the top, so I made my rats this little escape hatch. And this is the locking mechanism for the cage. It's just an oval with 2 washers and a screw. So this pet cage is actually really nice. I really like it. It doesn't stink as long as I clean it. I put some polyurethane over it, just 1 layer, and that really helped a lot because they were sifting their poop and stuff out of this outpost up here, which this is where they sleep. They really like it. They kind of only spend like all day up there, and who wouldn't? You want an outpost. You do. Anyway, so practical information. Anything that wasn't covered with LDF, I covered it with some laminated linoleum. This stuff is really cheap. It's only about $1. My friend, who's a biology major and rat lover, suggested this to me, and it has worked really, really well. In the video you saw me put some cloth down there, and that got really gross really fast. And I just got this. I took the tops off and just pushed it down in there, and it's great. I like put some rags up there, I wash them, all that stuff. But yeah, come on out, guys. So that's it for my Pallet Wood pet cage. I hope you guys learned something and you like this stuff. If you want to keep updated with me or what I do, you can subscribe to YouTube, or you can look at me up on Facebook or Instagram. Haven't figured out Twitter yet. I'm kind of inept with that sort of stuff. Anyway, yes, I have to get back to moving, so I'll see you guys later. Jesus Christ, little miss, you're just fucking balls deep in fucking craziness right now. Jesus Christ, you're not getting my pineapple. I don't give a fuck. Oh, Jesus. Oh, yeah. Oh. No, you're not getting that. No! Fuck off! Damn! You're crazy, little miss. You're just so crazy. I want you to ignore this right now.